Hannah.
And I'm Matt Hannah.
And this is Horror Hour with the Hannahs,
where we talk about all of your favorite scary movies.
And today we are joined by our very fun friends, Erica and Jackie from the Horror Café Podcast. Hi, guys.
Hello. Ooh, Jinx.
It's always fun to have another duo on the podcast, especially one that has, we're husband and wife, but you're the first mother-daughter duo we've heard, which I think is super fun.
Oh, thank
cool.
you.
Yeah, I indoctrinated her from early age.
My mom did too, so I get it.
Oh, yeah. She trained me from, diapers in horror. But yeah,
we're your first...
Go ahead.
Do you know what your first horror movie was?
We've been trying to figure this out for years, and I'm going to say it's The Shining, to be honest. I'm pretty sure that's one of the first that she introduced me to, but I had to go into another room when the shower scene. That was the only thing I was not allowed to watch as a kid.
Understandable.
Yeah. That tracks. I think mine was Jaws.
Jaws was your first? If that counts, then I would count.
Counts. I watched it at 4, so...
Oh, good. We all
started.
Yeah,
your parents really didn't want you swimming, I guess.
Yeah, my dad's kind of just a goober. Yeah, I was going to say that, but
sorry.
At least you did.
Your dad.
Yeah.
My father-in-law. I guess I'm allowed to.
Yeah,
you are.
Run that right. Well, tell us a little bit about your show and what you do.
Absolutely. So, yes, we are a mother-daughter duo, and we are best friends, and we've been horror fans for years. And one day we were like, well, let's get out there. Let's do a podcast. And we're the Horror Café Podcast, and we do themes every month, things like Found Footage February. That's one of my favorite months. We do tech horror, slasher, anything. And then, we'll pick one of our favorite movies, or not favorite, because it's kind of fun to talk about movies you don't like either. And then we just talk about it. We have our 7 rules to see how many rules they break. Because, every horror movie, they make stupid decisions, and they usually lead to a fatal outcome or not. So we have fun with that while drinking coffee, and you can find us over on all the socials, Instagram, Facebook, at Horror Café Podcast. And we just got a Discord server, so that's another great place because we're very interactive on there. Horror Café Podcast also.
Perfect. Thank you for sharing. What are you guys drinking tonight?
Mom?
Well, I am having, unlike most episodes, a coffee. I'm actually having a Jack and Coke. Coke Zero.
I am having a whiskey ginger.
Ooh.
Out of a can. So
yeah, to be fair, it is a canned cocktail, but it's pretty good. I don't know.
I saved my can. I saved my can to open into the mic for everyone out there. So,
Nice.
Having a, what is this even called? A Screaming Tangerine Wheat Ale?
Yeah.
Made by Strange Roots Beer. My mom bought it for me.
Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Nice. Local.
Tastes good. I got it because it has this cool zombie screaming on it. So I thought it would be good for horror podcasts.
That's
Absolutely.
perfect.
I'm the boring one today. I'm just having a sparkling water, a bubbly sparkling water, because I literally got home half an hour ago, and I'm like, I just need water, and we're good. So I'm the boring one today.
You could always add a little bit of vodka to that.
I could
liven it up.
That's all that's missing.
I wouldn't be having a beer tonight if it wasn't for the podcast, but I'm happy to have a drink with all of you. So cheers.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers. We're almost to the long weekend.
Oh,
Yeah.
I got a lot of work to do before I get to this long weekend.
I hear you. I hear you on that.
I need an extra day, unfortunately.
No.
Well, let's keep the party going and talk a little bit about today's film. So today we are all discussing Hell House LLC, which is a 2015 found footage movie written and directed by Stephen Cognetti. Normally we share the prominent cast members, but no one in this cast even has their own Wikipedia page. It's that...
Yeah.
I don't know, the cast is that underground. I was like, oh, that's really cool. They're all pretty good and serviceable too, so.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
kind of what you're supposed to do with found footage.
Yeah,
I feel
agree.
like the standard was set with Blair Witch, and most found footage after that has been nobody's.
Yeah. I mean,
That is true. That's true.
I don't know.
I
I've
can't
definitely
believe-
known some people. Like Creep, I knew Mark Duplass
Creep,
and stuff.
that's because
Yeah.
he like wrote it himself.
I love him.
And most of the time, I'm actually surprised in Hill House. A lot of the time, the writer and directors are in it. I've noticed that, but he's not in this one. I looked it up before, because I thought maybe he was Alex, but it's not him. I was kind of.
I think he is just like in the background of a scene as like holding a camera or something. I saw, but like, yeah, not like a real speaking part.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Definitely budgetary constraints. I mean, even look at Saw, which isn't found footage, but like Lee Whannell is in it.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's also in Insidious.
Yeah.
But he didn't write that. He's just friends with James Wan.
Yeah, I think they've been friends since like high school or something.
Yeah, it
I
was
think.
high school or college. They definitely worked together for a long
Yeah.
time.
Lee Whannell in Saw is the definition of trying his best.
I love it. I know he's not great in that, but it still works.
Yeah.
Especially at the end when Jigsaw's leaving, he's like, "No."
Mm-hmm.
After
there's a lot of people on the Saw subreddit debating whether Adam will be returning for Saw 11. And you know what? I hope it happens because I love how dumb that franchise is. I love it for its dumbness, and it can always get dumber.
Do we know where this falls in like the order of films?
Where Saw 11 falls, I have no idea.
who knows? We enjoyed what is it? Saw 10? Yeah, 10. We enjoyed it.
That was good.
So did we.
That was
yeah,
really
yeah.
good.
It
I'll
was
be honest,
enjoyable.
I don't think there's a single one I've like not enjoyed at least a little bit. Maybe Jigsaw. I don't love that one.
I think that's the one I haven't seen, right?
That's probably the one you haven't seen. You've seen everything but Spiral. I liked.
I actually really like Spiral, which
I do too.
apparently is an unpopular opinion, but that one's so funny.
I haven't watched that one yet. I actually haven't seen a lot of. I think I stopped at 4 or 5 and then jumped to 10 because everybody was talking
That's
about
fair.
it.
I'm trying to remember like which ones are good. I feel like it's like every other. Like 1 and 2 are good, 3 is bad, 4 is good, 5 is bad, 6 is good, 7's bad. Is what is
So the even
my
numbers.
rambling.
are
Yeah,
decent.
except both 1 and 2 are good.
Yeah,
So
that's fair. That's a fair
and
assessment.
then Spiral, I liked. I think it's just because it's Chris Rock and Samuel L. Jackson playing this very serious role, and it's kind of weird to see them in it. That's actually one of Chris Rock's best performances because he actually felt like he was trying.
Yeah.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah.
now I have to. I didn't know Samuel
Yeah,
Jackson.
now
was
I
in
got to
it.
watch it.
Yeah, me too.
they play father and son in it.
Oh, okay.
Ah, poetic justice. I love it.
That's awesome. I definitely got to check that one out. So,
Well,
What
I
I
think
can't-
it's an unpopular opinion that we like it though. So just going in, you should know that a lot of people
I've
don't like
heard
it. But
both.
I think it just does something so different comparatively because it's not like actually about Jigsaw. It's from the book of Saw, so it's like inspired
Right.
by him. So I think it's kind of fun that way.
But I don't know. For everyone out there, I'd recommend watching all the Saw movies. They're schlocky, but they're like a good modern day schlocky, which maybe we don't get as much anymore.
Well,
So
and Hell House has spawned a couple sequels as well.
yes.
There's 3 sequels, right? And they just announced that there would be a 5th installment coming out in 2025.
Yes, I'm so excited.
now, I've only seen the first one, and Hannah's only seen the first one. Have you guys seen all of them at this point?
Yeah, we have.
Okay.
Which one's your favorite?
Let's see. My favorite, clearly the first one. And I actually really enjoyed the last one they did. The Carmichael, whatever it was called, I forget.
Carmichael
But
Manor.
there you go. Those two are my favorite.
So this is the first time you guys watch it, right? If I'm correct, yeah. This is like our 6th time watching this movie, probably.
Yeah.
It's tough because Carmichael Manor. I felt like it was this one. If you enjoy the first one, it feels like it's part 1, but amped up a little bit and with a much cleaner camera. But the original is still my favorite because if it wasn't for falling in love with this movie, I wouldn't care at all about this franchise.
Yeah.
Part 2 and 3 are they're not great.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that part 4 kind of brought
Redeemed
it back to life. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like I have to watch that, but I don't want to watch part 2 and 3.
I know. You do though, unfortunately, because it does tie in the story. So you do have to sit through it. Luckily they're not long. So there's always that.
That's true.
Found footage is never really that long. That's a huge bonus, but it's worth it to just kind of sit through it so you can get to Carmichael Manor, because if you watch it, it may not make that much sense if you don't watch part 2 and 3. So I recommend it.
Yeah, that's true, because we even had a hard time talking about that one.
Which one? Carmichael?
The Carmichael one, yeah.
Because
Remember?
the story is very involved at that point. It grows from this one, even though I just read that Hell House LLC was supposed to be just one movie. It was just designed to be one, and now they've made 3 more. 4, actually, coming out.
You can't turn down a paycheck.
Absolutely not. It's
John
smart.
Carpenter taught everyone best with
Right?
Halloween 2. He never wanted to make Halloween 2, but sometimes you need that paycheck.
Oh man,
That's
that was
true.
an interesting decision. But yes, and then look how many more. I don't even know how many Halloweens there are.
And
at
he's
this
still
point.
involved. He's still doing the music.
Yep.
So I'm happy for him.
Yeah, good. Hey, yeah, good for
He's
him.
earned it in my book.
Yeah, hey, if you can, absolutely.
So I think both of you say that you love this movie.
Yes.
So I just wanted the first, like that's where we're at with this. It's a high bar. Both of you really enjoyed this?
Yes,
Would you say that this is your favorite found footage movie?
it is mine. So it used to be Paranormal Activity, and then Mom is the one who found it and told me to watch it. This has since been my favorite, and I watch a lot of found footage movies. A lot.
Yeah, for me, it's not my favorite, but it comes in second.
What's
So
your favorite?
my favorite, if you haven't seen it, is House's October Built.
I've never even heard of that. So
I've
that'll
heard
be
of
nice.
it, but I haven't
Yeah.
seen it.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about that specific movie that I like so much. It is found footage, but it gets under my skin, so to speak. And yeah, I love that one. And this one, when I found it, I knew like halfway through, I think I texted Erica and I was like, I found a movie you're going to want to watch.
Yeah. She was not wrong.
Yeah,
I
you
know
knew her.
her. Yeah, and I knew where she was going to be covering her eyes too, but I
Yeah.
didn't tell her a damn thing about that. So
Well, it takes the
always
scare away.
fun.
Yeah.
Matt, do you have a
freak
favorite
out.
found footage?
I do have a favorite found footage. Unfortunately, it's not this one. However,
guess.
I will say,
Yeah.
wait 1 second. I want to say this movie has actually stuck with me longer than I would thought.
Yeah,
And I
me too.
have, while I initially came out of it kind of middle of the road, it's actually grown on me just over the past couple weeks. And we talked about it briefly on another episode, and I feel like I was mean or harsher about it, and I think I'm going to be nicer about it this time around. So, but
Phew.
fine, go ahead and guess my favorite found footage, Hannah.
Wreck.
Yes, spot on.
Oh,
Yeah.
Wreck.
Great one.
That's a
Like-
great one.
One of my favorite horror movies, one that I recommend to a lot of people. I think, and we've covered this episode, so people can go listen to that. But I think what really works for me is it just makes complete sense that there's a camera in the situation.
Yep.
I love the idea of it that they're doing this, like, nighttime bullshit cable access documentary about firefighters, and then this happens. It just really works. It allows the setup of the camera to actually be good and not bullshit shaky cam that I've seen in some worse found footage. And so it just works. It also just seems like there was a lot of like craft and care that went into it to make it like look good and make it not make me want to throw up while I watch it. So, which I'm sure if you love found footage, there's plenty that have made you feel that way as the camera goes running and showing people's feet and all over the place. So.
Oh, yeah.
That's a great choice. I love that movie.
That's a great one. I always forget
think-
about it. And it's like,
yeah.
it's so
I
good.
think I found that one, and then I recommended that one to you as well, Erica. I think
Probably.
Yeah.
You find everything and then recommend it. So,
I really like that one too. Honestly, I'm a sucker for Creep, even though I think it's definitely not like scary. It's more unsettling. If I want to be
Yes.
scared, Wreck, and I actually thought Hell House LLC was a great one for like just wanting to like feel like you're gonna pee your pants.
Yeah.
You just like she just loves Creep because, well, a lot of reasons, but Mark Duplass.
Yeah, I think he's so funny.
It is a very funny movie.
And like unhinged.
Yes. You know what Creep is? So I don't know if you guys do this, but there's like different levels of horror, right? There's paranormal and aliens and all that. This is real life horror. Like Creep could happen to you in theory, and that's what makes it's unsettling and very scary because it could happen. There could be a psycho that puts an ad up and, you know, lures you in, and here you are. There's a lot of decisions in that one that I'm like, why are you still going to this guy? And then you wouldn't have a movie, but he did great. He was so unsettling that I get it. It's a great choice for disturbing home invasion. Ugh, no thanks.
I feel like the concept of this movie is why anytime I've like sold or bought anything on Facebook Marketplace, I always make Matt be there.
I don't blame you. It's all these movies.
We don't need to talk about Creep too much, but I think your point about like the weird decisions, I think it comes down to the fact that it's like we don't want the reality to be true in that situation. Maybe we would do the same thing, be like, no, he's just weird. Like this isn't actually happening. And you try to rationalize and convince yourself. So like in my mind watching it, I was like, it didn't seem that outlandish, the decisions he was making. And so I think that made it kind of hit for me still.
Yeah, I feel like if I were in that situation, it's not until the wolf mask that I would have fully been like, I'm out.
Yeah, I mean, if some dude comes out like that, like, I'm good. Like
that wolf, that wolf mask. That's the part where I'd be like, I'm out of here, dude.
Yeah,
I'm gone.
Peach fuzz,
I've
right?
had enough.
Peach fuzz.
I've had enough.
Yep. That's a good one. Though.
We have to jump back into Hell House LLC, but I think Hannah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So it's actually considered one of the top 10 scariest horror movies as rated by Science from the Science of the Scare Project.
Okay.
So in 2023, it placed at number 9. So 2024's hasn't come out yet. I think it comes out in October. So we'll see if it still cracks the top 10.
Ooh,
but yeah, do you feel like it's one of the top 10 scariest movies you've seen?
For me, well, not anymore. Like, because I've seen it, but I will tell you, this movie, when I first watched it, it's when a movie affects me getting up at night to go to the bathroom, that's when I know something has genuinely scared me. Or obviously, kind of like you, Matt, it stays with you. Like initially, you come out of a movie, either you liked it or you're in the middle, but the longer you think about it, that's something that's brewing in your brain. Yeah. But this one did scare me. I don't know if it would be top 10. I'd have to really think about all these other movies, but it left me very unsettled, especially because of the clowns. So it was very effective. I know on the first watch, I was screaming a lot in the first watch. By now, it's still creepy though, because watching it alone in my house, I was like, I don't know, should I be watching this alone? Because normally we watch them together, but since we moved, now I'm watching them alone, and I don't know, I kept thinking I was going to turn around and see a clown in my hallway.
And the funny thing is, she texted me in the middle of her watching it.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no, I'm not watching. I'm not looking at this scene.
Yeah. We'll get to that, but yeah.
Relatable. That's how my barometer as well for like how scary something is, I think. Because like, yeah, sometimes I like scream because I'm startled, but it doesn't actually stick with me. But this one, it stuck with me. When I went to pee, I kept being like, there's going to be a clown. Yes. Like I kept thinking I was going to see it, and it really bugs me.
And it's just going to stand still.
Yeah, it keeps happening too. It wasn't just that night. Like it happened that night, and then it happened like last week again because I was thinking about it, and I was like, no.
Yep. Then it got you. That to me is when a movie impacts you in some way, right? Like when it's still in your subconscious there, that's when I know a horror movie has gotten to me. It was effective. And that's what I look for. That's the thrill of the next scare. And I get it with this movie every time. It's still effective.
Last night was my first time watching it alone because I watched it last night. Short-term memory for me some days, so I forget movies right away. But I've seen this one so much that I know every part of it. But I was alone, and I could not sit through watching that one scene with Paul and the weirdo in his room.
Oh,
The sheet?
the covers or the sheets.
The sheets.
Yeah,
Yes.
I couldn't. I literally covered my eyes. And then afterwards, as I was going upstairs, because now I'm in a new house and we have wood floors, I'm not used to the creaking and all those little sounds. I was freaking out. I mean, really freaking out. Going up the stairs, going up the U-shaped stairs, and I swear I heard a sound. I know it was my imagination.
It was.
Probably one of the cats or the dogs, who the hell knows? But I was freaking out. And then when I had to get up to go pee, I'm like, okay, I'm turning on every light in the house.
Literally.
We're having our upstairs, our bathroom remodeled. So I had to come downstairs to use the guest bathroom.
I'm so sorry.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
me too.
And I turned on every single light.
Yeah. Oh God.
Yeah.
Incredibly relatable. Matt gets so mad when I
Oh,
wake
yeah.
up to pee because he'll do it in the dark and I turn on everything, especially when I've just watched a horror movie.
I'm big into, well, maybe it's less scary for me because I can't see anything. So if it's there, I'm just not seeing it. You know? I just stumble into the bathroom. I keep my eyes
That's a good
closed most of the
point.
time anyway. Like,
Oh,
I try to like,
You're onto something there. Just close your eyes and go and go for it.
I stumble around. I'm like hands on the walls trying to find my way. And then I can't be that scared. And then also I'm like half asleep still. So when I get back into bed, I didn't wake up at all. It's perfect. That's been my strat for years though.
Couldn't
like
be
it.
me.
No, or me.
Well, some other pieces of background on this movie is that this film was shot in our state of Pennsylvania at a real haunted house attraction called The Haunting at the Waldorf Hotel. So they did take over an abandoned hotel just like in the movie.
Oh, nice.
Awesome.
So you tell me we could visit there?
I think
Should.
it's still open. Yeah,
should totally go.
It's still open.
Take a
It's
picture.
currently open on Fridays and Saturdays, so we could totally go. I don't know. I think this might be in Bumblefuck. But
We should have all met there for this episode.
yeah,
There you go.
God,
That would have
right?
been cool. Yeah.
At the Abaddon,
Vacation.
Maybe
quote
maybe for
unquote.
the fifth one.
Maybe we can record the fifth one and just meet up there.
oh,
Spooky
this is
season.
only an hour and a half
it's an
from
hour and a
us.
half.
Let's do it.
Sometime. Well, my mom lives near the cemetery where they filmed Night of the Living Dead. So this year, I think we're going to try to go there.
That is so
Neat.
cool.
Yeah,
that's
that's-
really cool.
Evan City Cemetery. It's right outside of Pittsburgh. So that's where I grew up.
That's amazing.
Some other fun background is that after one of the scares, apparently, the actor playing Paul ran out of the strobe light room and the character vomits, but apparently that was real and not scripted, and he threw up for real on camera.
Oh.
I
Oh.
guess, from being scared.
From being scared.
Allegedly.
From being scared.
Yeah. Which I
I'll
love,
take it.
honestly. Same.
You know what?
I'll
I've
take
never done a scared puke. That's a new one. We could put that on our
You've done a
counter for the
scared
episode.
too.
I know. We've been over that.
Yes.
we don't have to relitigate.
And my last kind of fun fact is when Paul and Tony find Sarah staring at a wall in the middle of the night,
Mhm.
like talking in tongues, that's actually just audio played backwards of her saying, "When I got to the front door, the police were arriving."
Oh, that makes sense. I was wondering. It's funny because I was wondering when I was listening to it because I rewound, and I'm like, I think that's backwards language for some reason. So there you go. That confirmed it. Awesome.
That is cool.
Yes. So I know you guys have seen this, so you had your expectations, already in place. Matt, did you have any expectations going into our watch?
This is one that I had seen on like horror movie Reddit and horror movie Twitter a bunch before that had kind of, I think it definitely seemed like it had a cult following and I'd heard it was very scary. So I probably went in with like decently high expectations. But for the most part, I didn't really know what I was getting myself into in any way. And then I'll say once it started out that it was like being played as like a mockumentary, I locked in that moment because I'm a big fan of the mockumentary style for horror.
Me too. Okay.
Yeah, that was the big lock-in moment.
Yeah.
I'll get more into that later though. So
yeah, I felt like I had pretty high expectations going in because I've heard it's really scary, and I knew like a lot of people and a lot of other creators liked it, and I feel like it did live up to the hype, at least in terms of like how scary it was. Like I definitely did find it pretty alarming, and I hid a couple times.
It had moments where, and that's why I think I've like learned to like it more as I've thought it, or how it's like kind of like sat with me, is because I think part of it is hard to enjoy watching because it does get really uncomfortable throughout. Where I'm like, you know what, and I do think it has its like lulls as well. So there were times where I was like, oh, this is like getting a little slow, and then other times where it was like, okay, I need to get on to the next scene, please. Like no more of this, which I think makes it hard, and I probably do need to give it a second watch.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we also did a hide and scream count, as we do for every movie we watch for the podcast. There were 4 screams and 2 hides.
Ooh, I love it.
Nice.
Did I hide?
Was it all you? Yeah.
It was all me.
Oh, I didn't hide.
Matt like never screams or hides. Like he's pretty mute and just kind of like locks in and stares at the screen. It's actually like concerning how stoic he is.
The only movie that has really gotten me recently was Skinamarink. I haven't. I loved Skinamarink. I don't know how that controversial, but absolutely loved it. Probably the scariest movie I've seen in a long while. And that one, there were moments where I was like, I need to know how much longer is left in this movie because like my endurance is running out. Like I had, which was a new experience for me with horror movies. So
yeah, that one was really controversial. I don't think that, Erica, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know that you enjoyed it 100%. I thought it was really cool. The way it was filmed, it wasn't in your face, but yet at the same time it was. And I actually want to watch it again. So,
it's on Shudder. So
is it?
Watch it. I believe
Alrighty then.
Well,
I will.
I highly recommend it. It's definitely one you turn the lights off and watch alone because it's just like you get out what you put in to that movie. I would say like if you're kind of goofing off or aren't interested in letting it affect you, it won't. But I kind of I've always said on this podcast, I'm someone that really tries to let the movie in because I enjoyed most of them better that way, and that's why this one really hurt me.
Yeah,
there are hurtful times in that one. I was talking to Mom before this episode. I was concerned about your reaction to this movie only because this movie's been out for a while and it is very hyped at this point. That we saw it when it first came out, so we were basing it off of just indie, right? It's an indie found footage, and now it has a cult following that I'm like, oh man, this could either go bad or good. So I'm glad that for overall, it sounds like you guys had a good time with it. So yay.
Yeah.
I think I did. And like I said, it's funny because I think had you asked me 3 weeks ago, I would have said, it's fine. We'll have to look at what I rated it on Letterboxd back when we watched it because I think I was not that nice to it. But clearly something has changed in my brain in the past couple weeks. So
well, I was less of a grump from day one.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I was in a bad mood that day. I don't know.
Sounds like you. Okay. Well, we can do our 15-second summary. So you guys can choose whether you want to participate or not. Our 15-second summaries is just our like little bit where we time each other, giving a summary of the movie as quick as possible. Sometimes they're as nonsensical as possible. It'd be like that.
Just something fun we do.
Do you want to go first, Matt?
I'll go first. I'll actually do one. All right, bunch of dumb kids take over a hotel to run a haunted house, and they ignore every sign that there's an issue happening because they're strapped for cash, is my guess. And then they do a bunch of dumb things, and people die because of scary ghosts and clowns.
Well, you went a second over.
I know.
But good job.
That was the best I could do.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll let you two go last so you can have time to think if you'd like.
All right.
Mom, I'll go ultimate last. Mom, you're good at this.
All right.
Hannah, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right, go.
My absolute worst nightmare.
Oh, boo.
Oh,
That's it.
God.
Just clown statues or clown dolls moving
I'm
around.
more just
Clown
like,
emojis.
I already am afraid of haunted house, let alone haunted house at dark, let alone things moving around in my house at dark and just being there and staring at me. Like, actually, just everything I'm afraid of.
Meanwhile, like,
Yes.
the haunted house they were making was so lame, which is like, I think
It
the
is.
point. It's so
Yep.
funny how lame it is. Like, they're not even that
Right.
good.
But is it really lame though? Because like we see it in the movie
Right.
with a lot of lighting, but then add strobe lights, it's dark. Because when you see some of those props in other like haunted houses, if you saw them in full light, they'd probably look like shit. But I think that in the lighting, if you're in the actual haunted house, like some of them were dumb. There was one that was in the dining room and her hands were positioned in a weird place that was like, okay, that looks stupid. But you have to look at it from the person going through and all the noise and the strobe lights and all that. And if
Me.
you've ever been to like to a Halloween horror night,
Yeah.
that's when you
Mhm.
really realize how, oh, maybe this is really terrifying. That's
So-
how I see it.
I think I'm spoiled because I have had the Scare House in
Mhm.
Pittsburgh, which is like one of the best in the country, where it's like mostly all actual actors. So for me, when I was like, oh, just a bunch of dummies, they were like, we can't afford the animatronics this year. We can't afford actors.
Right.
Like that was
Yeah.
that was
it.
part of it. I think some of the setup was fun, and I love the idea of it being in a hotel. But that's why I
Mhm.
laughed. I was like, they had like 3 actors that they hired.
That part was dumb. The 3 actors didn't make sense to me. Like they
No,
had
it's-
one at the front and then the 2, and that was it.
That was all they
Yeah.
had. That was all they had money for. You know.
That's it.
Yeah, clearly Alex was
Mm-hmm.
strapped for cash.
Yep.
Good old Alex.
Well, so who's going next? We say Jackie, you're going.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go. How about 5 jackasses end up at the Abaddon Hotel and don't realize just exactly what the fuck they're heading into. How's that?
That works. For me.
Perfect. Beautiful.
I have, let's see. All right. 5 friends with their ferocious leader lying to them and not telling them the truth make a haunted house at a hotel, and it all goes to hell.
It
Yes.
does go to hell. That was a
Yes.
good way to put it.
Literally.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Both
Literally
of
to
yours
hell.
sounded like good little like commercial taglines.
Yeah, those were
Like,
Oh, you just the
come on
dramatic.
down.
Come on down.
That's
to
the
hell
the
house.
yak report, as I call it.
Yeah, because she kind of does the same thing. Like she'll sum it up and kind of make fun of the movie at the same time.
Yep.
Sometimes we do really good, and I'll have like a good one-liner for it. But sometimes I got nothing.
Mhm.
So today I had to actually describe it. Well, I'm gonna do an actual. I like to speed read my
Yes.
edited Wikipedia. What's it called? Yeah,
Summary?
plot summary. And when I read the one on here, it's really weird because I realized like that for a lot of this movie, nothing really happens. Like everything happens, but nothing
Right.
you can really put into sentences happens.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
it's definitely kind of a weird description, but I'm going to do my best here. So
Okay.
you guys can tune this out. Don't worry.
Yeah,
But listeners, you
don't worry.
can't. All right. So the film is presented as a documentary investigating an unexplained accident at an abandoned hotel that was set up as a haunted house. 15 people, including the first group of attendees and the members of the Hell House company that opened the attraction, died in what authorities decreed an unknown malfunction. The documentary crew, led by producer Diane, interviews people familiar with the case and finds rumors of something supernatural behind the tragedy. The crew tracks down the sole surviving member of the Hell House staff, Sarah, who provides them with footage shot in the lead up to the tragedy. Sarah's tapes document the company's arrival at the Abaddon Hotel as they set it up for Halloween. Each employee experiences unexplained events, but Alex, the CEO of the company, is determined to open the attraction. The footage suggests the hotel may have been the site of a satanic cult. Despite the disturbances, the Hell House group dismisses the activity and opens the attractions, and then on opening night, chaos ensues and all of the guests and company and crew are attacked by supernatural beings, resulting in 15 deaths and the death of most of the crew. Sarah, who's interviewed by the documentary crew in a nearby hotel, asks for a break from filming. She tells Diane she'll be back in her hotel room 2C, if the team has any questions. She also suggests the crew should break into the hotel to see for themselves what happened inside. Soon after, Diane attempts to leave a message at the hotel room desk for Sarah, but reception informs her that no one under Sarah's name is registered as a guest, and there is no room 2C at the hotel. Diane and her cameraman decide to visit the Abaddon Hotel. Mitchell, a member of the documentary film crew, stays behind to catalog Sarah's footage. He sees something that deeply disturbs him, but is hidden from the audience, and tries to call Diane, but cannot get through. Diane and her cameraman break in to see the aftermath of what unfolded that night. They go to the second floor where they see a room labeled 2C, the same room Sarah said she was staying in. When they enter the room, they find Sarah sitting in the back, with her back to them. Diane and the cameraman try to flee, but are attacked by a ghoulish Sarah and other ghostly figures. It is revealed that what Mitchell saw was a possessed member of Hell House killing Sarah. She has been dead the whole time they had been speaking to her, and there were, in fact, no survivors. And that's it. And what's weird about that is I feel like 3 of those paragraphs were the last 15 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of it doesn't get most of the scares in it, but it's because it's just some dudes putting together the house and being scared at night. Just I don't know how to explain that.
Overall being kind of dumb and annoying.
Yeah, pretty much. And not heeding any warnings. Poor Paul.
Hey, that is a classic found footage trope, to just be the biggest asshole you can be and not listen to anybody.
Alex achieves that.
Yes.
100% in this.
Looking at you, Paranormal Activity.
Yes.
Which I don't like that movie. I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. That's the whole point of this community, is that you don't have to agree. It's always fun to hear why people don't like the movies you love, or the opposite. So.
The thing is, I don't know if I could even explain why I don't like it. I think it came out at the time where everyone was like, "This is the scariest movie ever." Right. Like, I was in probably middle school when it came out, and I watched it and was just like, you know what? There's some things that stuck with me, but then you go back and watch it and you're like, did anything happen this whole movie?
Yeah, and arguably that's true. Nothing does happen in that movie. So, I get it.
Okay, so
I know we all enjoy this movie. I know you guys are huge fans of this movie. So let's start off by talking about what we like the most about this. I can kind of start and say that as someone who, like I said, I'm honestly pretty scared of haunted houses. I'm that person that gets like jumped out at and like startled the most, I would say. So for me, especially strobe lights really get to me.
Yeah, anytime there were strobe lights, I was like, I hate the strobe lights.
I literally will like walk through and be like, I think I might have epilepsy. No one bother me.
Yeah. They are scary.
So I think like having a movie that's trying to do that to me right off the bat, I was like, oh, this is good. And I think there are a lot of scares in this movie that are based off things that genuinely creep me out. Like we said, when you wake up in the middle of the night and you're going to the bathroom and you just kind of see a shadow and you're like, is that a dude or is that a shadow? And like then thinking about it actually being this clown, like that's horrifying. And then I also think like the sheet scene is also something that I feel like is a relatable fear for a lot of us. Like when we see something in the middle of the night and then we hide under our sheet, but then we're trying to poke our head out and we're like, oh my God, is there something scary outside the sheet? Except in this, there actually was. I think those, because they're based off like real things that creep me out, those scares were really, really successful for me.
So it basically touched on your inner fears, really.
Yes.
The clown, the hiding under the sheet, what's under there, that kind of thing. And when that happens, I think for most people, that's really super effective, for sure.
Yeah. That was definitely one of my hides or screams, or both. Probably both.
Yeah, that scene is one of the scariest in the movie. To this day, I have not seen the girl up close because I'm very visual, and I get those are things that I don't want to see in the middle of the night while I'm getting up or trying to go to sleep. So I always close my eyes just like Paul. I'm hiding, and I did it again this time. I refused to see her. I think what I like the most about this, because this is a very typical found footage, right? It's the same setup. It's usually a group of friends and they're trying to execute something. Blair Witch was in the woods, Paranormal Activity, they're trying to capture a demon. Here, they're building a haunted house, and it is a haunted house. So for me, I love ghosts, and I like subtle scares. And all of these are practical, right? Like, it's a clown moving its head from one shot to the next. I found that terrifying. I still find that scene terrifying with Paul finding the dummy at the top of the stairs from the basement. I still think that's super effective. And it's just 2 different camera shots of a scary clown. And it's super effective in this movie, all the practical effects. And that's why I keep coming back to it. The scares are so good. And the character, especially Paul, because I mean, he's kind of your guy for most of the movie. He's you, right? He's Hannah, he's me, where we're both chickens. So I would be terrified. And like, guys, why are we still here? Why are you guys fucking with me? This is not a joke. And everybody's, you know, being an asshole back. But I think that's what the movie does well for me and why I enjoy it so much.
That's a really good point about how, like, practical but also, like, minimal some of the scares are, and the fact that they can be just a head turning and that's so effective is really impressive. I also think for me something that's interesting is in the beginning of watching this movie, my notes say, Paul is such a fucking creep. My next note says, I hope Paul's dead. And then by the end, I was like, oh my God, poor Paul. Like, Paul, like, it's gonna be okay. Like, I feel like that's also another sign of, like, a movie being successful, that it could have this complete turnaround where, like, at first, I had absolutely no sympathy or empathy for this dude. And then by the end, I'm like, Paul is me. I'm so sorry for what you're going through.
Right. You root for him at the end, because he did start out like a jerk. The creeper.
I actually liked Paul from the beginning. I think it was his jokester, jackass type attitude that I kind of like. And I just felt the more he got involved in what was happening and realizing that stuff was hitting the fan, shit was hitting the fan, the more I liked him. And that final scene with that zombie girl or whatever she is in his room.
Kind of.
This time around, usually I can sit through and watch it, but because I was alone last night, it was like, I'm not watching this because I know what's going to happen later. And when a movie does that to me, where I am going up the staircase and I'm thinking, what about if when I get to the top, there's something?
Yeah.
What if this chick is sitting at the top of I'm out the door. So when a movie does that to me, that's it. I'm in there. So yeah, that worked for me.
Well, I can sum it all up where, you know what, the acting is fine. The way the movie looks, fine.
You know.
Scripts, okay. But what really made this movie work is that whoever wrote this, whoever put it together, had the idea for 3 or 4 incredible scares, $7 and a dream. That's how this movie was made.
Yeah,
it's true.
That makes
you know
sense.
what? They nailed those 3 or 4 scares because, as you have all said, like, there are a couple in here that are just petrifying. Specifically, that bedsheet one was probably the one that really made me feel weird inside. I can't describe how I felt, but I felt like my organs were falling out. I don't know, like
your stomach's falling out of your butt.
Yeah, but more.
Yeah.
All of them.
Yeah.
And I will also say one that I think really works for me, and one that I think everyone is afraid of happening, is just dolls moving around while you're not looking.
Yep.
So for him to see, oh, like, you're messing with me, like, what do you, haha, so funny, you're in the mask, and then to go into the other room and see the guy he thought it was, is just like such a fantastic setup and payoff, and, like, I guess dramatic irony as well, because we're pretty positive it's not him. And it just, like you said, those ones work, and, like, they really do sit with you. And while I think there are, like, weaknesses to this movie, like, because those are nailed so hard, they're, like, worth watching.
Yep.
And, like, worth getting through what I think the weaknesses are.
Something I was just thinking about too is that the layout of this house doesn't really make sense. Like, my brain couldn't put together what rooms were connected. Right. So then when you're watching, you continue to be scared because you don't know what room they're walking into.
And that's partially because they've turned it into a snaking
but
corridor.
It's also, it just...
That's true.
I think the layout is kind of nonsense for a house too. So yeah, that worked really well for me for continuing the tension.
because it's like if you were at a haunted house, right? You don't know what's around the corner at those haunts. So it's like the movie itself was, what is that, meta, where you're setting up this haunted house. That's what this group is doing, but you as a viewer are also experiencing it as the haunted house they're making. Plus, it is a haunted house, so you're experiencing it as both. I hope that made sense.
No, I fully follow.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
it almost works that the haunted house that they're making is kind of bad because the real haunted house is the viewing experience.
Right. So you're getting a double whammy. And, yeah. And I'm terrified of these haunted houses. I'm one of those that I look down. I don't like, it defeats the purpose of going. So watching it like this is safer, but still very safe.
You're messing up by looking down. Those actors know what to look for.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I know. Trust me.
I mess up because I like them and I'm more of a nervous laughter. So I just walk in, heads up and move. And I feel like I usually don't get the scares. It's someone like Hannah here who is very clearly looking scared that they go after.
I always have to be holding someone's hand and I have to walk in the middle of the group. So I'm a cleared target.
Do you remember?
You are the target for sure.
We went to one where you had to wear like glow sticks if you like really wanted to be scared. So of course I put the glow sticks on and we're in line.
I
with
did
a bunch of
not
people.
put a glow stick on.
And everyone in this line has glow sticks because everyone's like, yeah, I want to be scared.
Yeah.
And you get up to the front of the line and the lady at the front's like, okay, so who's your group? Oh, you have 5. And she goes to one of them like, yeah, you got a glow stick. Yeah, you're going in alone. And then they're like, what? Like, I don't want to do that. And she's like, well, then give the glow stick back.
Yeah, she was making people throw out their glow stick in line.
And they were like, well, we'll just put it away. And like, no. She was like, you decide now. You're either going to go in alone or you're going to give the glow stick back. You don't get to keep it. So a lot of people were weeded out there. But when we got to my group, I was the one selected and I went right in there. So
I was wearing the glow stick, so I got to stay with friends.
They separated me though, and it was
glow stick meant they could also touch you too.
Did it?
Yeah, it meant they could.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh god,
really?
Well,
ooh.
I let them touch me then. I don't know.
I don't know if they actually did. They were allowed to. Well, and this is also, if you've heard of Eastern State Penitentiary, which is like famous historical site in Philly, but also haunted. So there's like double whammy of like the legends of it being haunted in addition to
scary people running around.
Yeah.
Oh god.
A lot happening for me.
That? Oh god, no.
Ooh, I'd love to go there.
I know you would.
I'm to Philly.
I would.
Oh god. I can barely do the Universal Studios one. I could barely survive that.
I heard that one's really good though, right?
It is.
Very good. Very good.
It's a mix. They have actors and kind of like in Hell House that they have. When you really look at the set, if the lights were on, it would look bad.
Cheesy. Yeah.
But because you're hyper scared and the clowns, I was going to say, the actors are coming out at you, it's very effective. And the themes are very cool. It's very well done.
Yeah, we got to get down there for that at one point. We did the Six Flags one, and it's not great.
Yeah, it's not good.
I will also say, again, I've been spoiled by the Scare House, which is supposed to be like one of the best. And in that one, I remember in every room, what they would do is they draw your eyes somewhere, and then they hit you from the side. They're like the raptors in Jurassic Park. Like,
right.
Which is just like, I mean, it is like jump out of your skin scary. So. Or pee pants scary, as we refer to it here.
I am a pee pants scared person, so I don't need to go there.
And sorry, I'm off topic. Back to this movie, I will say there are multiple pee pants scary scenes in this movie. So and that's why I think we like it.
Yes, that's all that matters.
Any other like major reasons, like beyond kind of what we've talked about, that makes this such a standout? I feel like I've kind of named my major things.
Yeah. I really do think it's the scares.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is, because again, the rest is pretty generic and it's low budget, low quality, like picture wise. So it is the scares and how they make all of it unfold and the timing of it. Kind of like what you're saying, Matt. You just when you've had enough, they bring you back down, and then they come back and give you another pee in your pants moment.
I think that they go out of, in this movie, they go out of their way, or the director, producer, whatever, goes out of his way to pinpoint and zero in on most people's fears. If you're afraid of clowns, got it covered. Afraid of the Supernatural, Bump in the Night, the Boo at the they nailed it. Like everyone's little tiny fears are right there, and I think that's why it works.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what are we on to next, Hannah?
What didn't we like? I'll just throw it out there that I, for a lot of this movie, was like, who is who? Like, I don't know if I just wasn't paying attention well, but my exact note is all these white people look the same. Because I just was like, it's just another white guy. Like, I don't know.
Yes.
And so beyond Paul, I think I had a hard time like balancing the other end of the plot. So like when we found out that Alex was being shady with money or whatnot, that was his name, right? I was like, who's this?
Yeah, that's Alex.
Who's this?
Yeah, so I feel like, and that could just be that I'm dumb or like don't pay attention, frankly, but I did feel like that end of it, I had trouble a little bit with differentiating what was going on there. Did you
I
have that problem, Matt?
sympathize. I sympathize with that actually, because this is, again, we've watched this a lot, and honestly, there's a character named Tony. I don't remember him. In the other million times I've watched it, I was like, who is this? And he's in it quite a lot, so I was a little bit confused and thrown off by him. And I know when I first watched it, it was kind of hard to keep track because and they say their names so quick that it's hard to keep track of who is who. It's when you watch it over and over that you kind of realize who your main characters are. But even I still, on this watch, I'm like, who the hell is Tony? You've been in this movie this whole time?
Yeah, I don't know who Tony is either.
Well,
the camera guy.
God, that's so funny.
What is it? Security camera guy.
So I think my issue, because I agree, I don't know who they are, but I don't think it's because I don't pay attention. It's because I think that they were all just so awful in their own way that I just like didn't care to learn who they were.
Yeah.
Which is again a staple of a lot of found footage. And I don't think we need to keep doing this, guys. I think we're past the need for the found footage protagonist just being despicable. So for anyone out there writing, you can remember, so it's all right. You can make them likable. Yeah,
you can.
Wreck did it, all right. But I would say that is something, and I like I said, for the most part, I find that a lot of part of this movie is just fine. It has the normal pitfalls that I think most found footage does, but because it nails the scares so well, it like kind of makes up for it. I don't think there's much more. Oh, you know what? I had one. I apologize. I love the idea of a mockumentary, I said. And so when it kind of went from, well, actually, we just have this magic SD card that everything was filmed on, I like rolled my eyes a little bit because I was like, oh, I was kind of enjoying this whole like investigative journalism side of it. And I think that kind of took me out of it. However, I think it works best that way. It's just like when you tempt me with this good time and then take it away, it definitely like brings me down. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
it does.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It does.
Definitely. I am trying to think of what I didn't like. I think that what I didn't like sometimes was, you know how they had the eyewitnesses that they would bring in? They didn't really emphasize or maybe I missed it. Probably I missed it because I was hiding a lot of the times last night. But I didn't feel like connected to them or that they were authentic, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think I follow you. You're talking like the people that, like, they were eyewitnesses that had no idea what was really going on.
Guests of the house.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
Exactly.
I think I didn't think about it because I was like, yeah, this is exactly what people trying to get their 15 minutes of fame, the people that were at the 15-person slaughter at the haunted house would do.
Right. Like the guy who was the older gentleman with, I think he had a beard. I don't even remember their names, but he just came across like, oh, I just want to be a star for 15 minutes. And he just, I don't know. He just like, whatever.
I'm sure that's exactly what it was. You did remind me. I loved like the YouTube footage where everyone was uploading their like rainy.
Me too.
That made sense. Like that was cool.
My issue, I mean, I think this is in every found footage. kind of how do you justify the camera? I can't imagine myself waking up in the middle of the night, grabbing my camera to film this clown statue that's coming up the stairs. Because I'd be so scared and concerned and trying to figure out why it's there. It's not important as to why I'm filming this, but then we wouldn't have the movie in this case. But the justification behind some of these things or why you're still filming, that's my biggest question in found footage, which goes back to Rec, right? Like, you'll never stop filming there because something crazy is happening and it makes sense. But here, I know Paul is documenting everything, but this is a crisis. So what are you doing? Why are we still filming when you should just be running away or closing your door and calling the police? Because what if there is a home invasion going? I don't know. So those are the things in found footage that kind of bother me here and there. And Alex really bothered me in this watch. I didn't realize how asshole-y he is.
Yeah.
And you're right. It gets tiring to have that role over and over in found footage, and he's overbearing and he's in control of the whole thing, and it can be kind of annoying.
So that makes me think, has anyone ever done like a body cam found footage movie? I mean, obviously it'd have to be like with police probably, as long as they're not turning their body cam off. But sorry.
Did you ever watch Deadstream?
No, I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
Have you, Hannah?
I've heard of it.
God, that's hilarious.
That one's it is a comedy found footage, but so go into it thinking like campy, but it works really well. But he uses a body cam and a head cam, which does make sense because he's also live streaming. So in that case, it does. But honestly, I don't know if anybody's done a body cam.
What about dash cam, which I hated that with a passion, but
I don't think they had a body camera.
You didn't have a body cam, the chick?
So.
She didn't?
I think that's one of those situations. Why are you still filming?
But it's on her dashboard too at some point. Oh my God, I hated that movie.
Yeah, that was a hard watch. But I don't know. That's a good point. Why hasn't anyone done that is beyond me, actually.
I'm sure maybe someone has, but
maybe a really, really low budget.
Well, all we're getting right now is stuff like Host, right? Is that what you're going to say?
Right. No, I was going to say, I feel like it could be kind of sensitive to make like difficult to make a body cam found footage because like you mentioned, like police, I feel like that can be a sensitive topic because there's half the population that's like, I love the police, and the other half of the population is fuck the police, and there's not that much in between.
True.
And I feel like if the cop is being bad, you're going to have one side mad. If the cop is good, you're going to have the other side mad. And like, I just don't know how well that'll go over unless it's very clearly making some political statement.
You just do the normal found footage, just have them act like entitled assholes. If it's perfect. We're typecasting here. Sorry.
Oh my God.
True.
Yeah, we stand on one side of that debate.
But, we don't have to get into that. But
right.
So what do we got next? We talked about what we didn't like. Hannah's got our cheat sheet up.
Yeah, we talked about, obviously how scary we find this, which is great. Do you have any hot takes about this movie? Like opinions that you haven't really seen anyone else say? Since you guys have like obviously been a part of discourse for this movie for longer than
they've loved it since it came out.
I know, but like maybe they've seen something and they're like, my opinion is clearly a hot take comparatively.
I mean, I have read like people, I've seen it. I'm on this Facebook group about horror movies, and they'll once in a while somebody will post, "Oh, I just watched this for the first time. This is not scary at all. I don't understand why people find this to be one of the scariest movies of all time." And I don't know if that's a hot take at this point, but that's usually the opinion. And I will say, when we first watched this, the ratings were much higher. And when I checked it now, it is lower on the Rotten Tomatoes score. It has gone down. I'm pretty sure it was higher. So even that's interesting because I think that's people coming in and watching it and being, this overhyping, and then they're let down. So I haven't read anything. That's the biggest complaint I always see like, oh, this wasn't as scary as everybody says it was. It was actually really disappointing. Like, okay, that sucks. But that's the concern with these overhyped movies, especially if they've been out for a long time and they have a cult following. Where do you fall on that line now? Are you on the cult side, right? Or are you on the disappointed because it's been overhyped?
And I think that's like where Longlegs kind of faltered. Is it got people in the theaters because the marketing was amazing for Longlegs. It got people in the theaters, but then you had so many people that probably would have really liked it being like, well, it was too overhyped, so I don't like it now.
I didn't love it, but
I think you would have liked it more had it not been overhyped.
I liked it. I didn't love it. But
and that's a great example, and because the marketing was great on that, and I actually went to watch it with low expectations on purpose because it's turned into these big horror movies. Oh, it's the greatest of all time. It's the scariest in the last 10 years. And then you go and you're let down. But honestly, going in lower, I don't know if that's good or bad, helped me enjoy Longlegs more in for that movie, for example. But it definitely wasn't, for me, the scariest thing I've ever seen, for example. So great marketing. And it got me into the theater.
I agree. I want to say one more thing about Longlegs. I'm sorry, because we did cover it, and I feel like I need to... Yeah. I've thought about it more, because it actually has one that, unfortunately, I think has soured for me over time, opposite of this movie. And I think what it has come down to, and everyone can argue with me on this, is that it feels much more hollow than the movies it was inspired by. Yeah. And I find that while there's many good things about it, I don't think it has much to say compared to something like Silence of the Lambs that it clearly took inspiration from. And that's my only feeling. That's like the thing that I think has made me not enjoy it as time has gone on.
Yeah.
But that's for the viewers out there who I think I was kind of harsh on it, I think, in our episode. So
a small small redemption.
Yep.
Any favorite scenes?
I think we said it.
We've definitely mentioned
it's the sheet scene. It's the sheet scene.
But there is another scene that I thought was really good, and it's the part where Paul goes into, I think it's the kitchen area, and those clowns are there, and the strobe lights come on. Mm-hmm. Like, that got to me. I was watching it between the fingers of my hand because I didn't want to watch it, but at the same time I felt compelled to watch it because then you miss the other weird things that show up when the strobe light is going. And I think that's the thing about strobe lights, is that they, like, something is really far away and then all of a sudden it's right in your face. And strobe lights kind of freak me out in haunted houses and things like that, or even at Universal Studio. That's probably the only thing that really freaked me out when I went, were the strobe light scenes. So that got to me. Another thing that got to me.
I was going to say my other favorite scene outside the sheet scene is another Paul scene. I think the first time he sees the clown dude upstairs where he thinks it's his friend and then walks in the other room, because I saw that coming, but it still like scared the absolute shit out of me, and it felt like a relatable reaction, like we've said.
I'm petrified of this giant stuffed giraffe that Hannah has in our house moving, so I get it. It's never moved, but I know just someday
I get scared of that
door and it's gonna be sitting staring at me. Like,
and I just need to say, my brother bought it for me, and he definitely looks for it when he comes in the house. So we don't get rid of it. Bad getting rid of it, but we have it like tucked in a weird spot so it's out of the way. But it like really does stare at you. Yeah, it's pretty awful.
All right,
you gotta move it.
On that note, if you're freaked out by that giraffe, there is a video somewhere on YouTube that my husband and I watched, and it was something about paranormal stuff, and it was these guys who were filming. They just left their camera on supposedly overnight, and they had a glass or whatever ceramic giraffe that just moved by itself.
No thanks.
You know what? Yeah, I think I'm good.
I don't need it. I don't need it, I swear. I really like giraffes, so that's all my brother like knows about me. So he just like buys me constant giraffe stuff. So I promise I'll have a ceramic giraffe at some point, and I don't need that.
Have a little like giraffe.
I can send you the link to that. And
no, I promise I'm okay. Actually, I do have ceramic giraffes. They're salt and pepper shakers.
You better hide them now.
I know.
Start moving
because they were.
Yeah,
I'm with you, Hannah. That is, as much as the sheet scene is probably the best scare of the movie. The first scare, like genuine scare, is that clown on top of the basement steps and he turns his head from the next shot. That is fantastic because, again, it's that simple scare. You're there with Paul as the viewer, and you're even more shocked when you realize it's not one of his friends playing a prank. It moved by itself. Yeah. So
now there's something about that scene. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but when he is going towards that, before he gets to the part where he finds the clown, there's like this cabinet in the corner and all the doors on the cabinets are closed. And when they come back to it and do like a wide angle shot, one of the doors on the cabinet is open.
Oh, no, I didn't
notice that.
Yes. I thought that was interesting. Also, Erica, I think I texted you last night that there was at timestamp 2214, I think it was, they're at the bar. You know how they were all hanging out at the bar in the house and just, shooting the breeze and all that shit. When you're listening to it, and I had never noticed this, there's sound in the background. It sounds like moaning or talking. It could be me. My hearing is off. I will admit that. But I did rewind because I kept thinking it was noise from outside. And I'm like, okay, it's something outside. It's not the movie. Then I did a rewind and I played it again. It's like, okay, it is not outside. It's in the movie itself. So something to go back and look at. Well, there you go.
I'll have to remember that for my second viewing because I think there is one in my future.
Yes.
Good. Awesome.
We converted you guys. You are on the cult following.
Now I feel like I have to watch 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah.
Well, you kind of do. Just to get to 4, because
just to get to 4, you kind of have to.
Yeah, you should. Still a good time.
You sold me when you said it gets really convoluted and crazy, because I was talking about how much I like the Saw movies, which they basically turn into a soap opera with like torture porn in between. So you know what? I think I'm convinced.
Yeah, it gets convoluted, and then it kind of comes back full circle in the 4th one, and it kind of clarifies it, but with pretty good scares again. It's worth it. It's worth your time. If you did enjoy this even mildly and more, as you guys have, then I think it's worth trudging through 2 and 3 to get to part 4 and then 5 next year.
Yeah. I will say that part 4, what it has is that it has what the first one has. It touches on some of your basic fears that we all have, whether it's a clown or somebody staring at you or a ball rolling down the aisle, like in The Shining or whatever. But those little tiny little fears that we all have are brought to life in 4. And I love movies that do that, where they touch on your fear and then it just sticks to your brain.
Yeah. Agree.
Yeah.
What do we feel like this movie is trying to do? Like, is there a purpose to this or a thematic, like, any themes?
I mean, if you come to me first, I will say no. I think it is just
trying to scare you.
And that's fine. Like, it is a haunted house. It's a lot of scare on the surface, hollow on the inside, like every haunted house, and that's fine. For what
I agree. I agree 100% with that. Yep.
I just think it was supposed to be a fun, make you scared found footage movie.
Yeah.
And I think if you go in knowing that, or they never promise to be something more than that, then it's fine.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, we like to really try to do like thematic analysis and see what a lot of these movies are saying, because I think so many horror movies are saying so much and are overlooked in the art form.
Agree.
And just some of them, and I think some of them that are praised, like I was kind of saying with Long Legs, do feel kind of hollow. But then you got some magic stuff like this where it's like, it's not trying to say anything. And that's totally okay. Like you really do get the whole spectrum.
Yeah, I think at most it's saying is like, don't be a dick to your friends, like Alex or like Paul in the beginning.
Yeah.
Like that's all it's saying is like, don't be an asshole and
Be
just
honest.
sit back and have fun.
Maybe these are all like anti-capitalism movies because it always has to do with them trying to make money and putting themselves in danger to make money.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe. They do say a lot of horror movies do have more social commentary than people, like you said, that are missed in its art form. But this one, I truly think they made it for fun. It almost feels like, I can't remember the poor guy's name now, but he made this because he's a fan. It feels like it was made from a place of love of haunted houses in general and the found footage genre within horror.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely think it's just like, I love scary, I love found footage, I love haunted house. Here you go.
Yeah.
And that's beautiful.
Here it is
That's
with a
what I
bow.
$7 in a dream.
Yes.
There you go.
I'm here for it.
So I think we can kind of wrap up our discussion of this movie with our ratings.
Ooh, I need to see what I gave it on Letterboxd the first time and then see if I'm going to go ahead. So someone else go.
Yeah, Erica, do you want to go?
Well, it's out of 10, right? From what I heard.
We do it out of 10 rating.
Okay.
You can give half points. You can give percentage or points. We don't care.
Okay. Awesome. Well, I'm very biased with this movie.
That's
so
okay.
It's a 10 for me. This is one of the rare 10s for me. I don't give them out often as, like, I think most people don't give out 10s, but it is genuinely my favorite found footage movie. And it's probably in my top 5 of horror movies. Again, because from the first time I watched it and then beyond, it still scares me. Even the things that are wrong with it, I don't care. Like, I love it so much that I look past, like, the reasoning for the found footage, like I said. Yeah. I just love this movie. And I would watch it more, but, I don't really want to be scared that much.
No, that's bullshit. You do want to be scared.
I do, but not really either. So I am very biased. Like, my Letterboxd, I have it a 5 out of 5. Like, it's one of my faves. You know what it is? I know it sounds weird, but horror fans understand. It's a comfort movie for me.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. It's a comfort horror movie. If I don't know what to watch, there's a few horror movies that I know I can go to and I know I'm going to enjoy it no matter what, versus, oh man, I got to risk watching this new horror movie and it's going to suck. It's a comfort horror movie. So that helps the rating as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
If we were on the Horror Café podcast, I would give this 9 steaming cups of horror.
Nice.
I love that.
Yeah.
Very nice. Yeah, we love this movie.
All right, Hannah, you're up.
Damn. Okay. Fuck. I always get like
initial reaction.
I fall into peer pressure so hard. So I'm like,
Hannah,
everyone loved it. So
you got to stand on your principles.
I do.
I'm really good at that, usually to my detriment.
I'm gonna go, I guess, 7.5 because like it's not like a beautiful work of art like some of the other movies we've reviewed on this podcast are, but it really accomplishes what it sets out to do. And I would definitely recommend this to anyone who is like, I want to watch a good horror movie. I want to be scared. Which should I watch? This would be on my list.
Awesome.
I agree with you.
What would you give it?
Right. You have to come to me, and I have to say, I'm sorry, it is not a 10.
Yeah.
I have Jaws as a 10. I have Seven as a 10.
I have Jaws
Midsummer,
as a 10 too.
And I'm trying to think what else I had. Midsummer as a 10.
Yeah.
Oh, Nope as a 10. Unfortunately, LLC is not stacking up to those 4.
Yeah,
it's okay.
It's okay. No, I'm just laughing because I was
I've
saying I
never
can't.
given anything 10 on this podcast.
My first time viewing after watching it, and I will say we were watching a bunch of different movies on the scariest movie list. I gave it a 5 out of 10. I know.
Ridiculous.
I'm good.
Right, yeah,
that was what I gave it a 2.5 stars out of that. Maybe that's because we had just watched The Exorcism of Emily Rose and Host, which I both thought were kind of meh. And so maybe I was just in a mad mood watching some of these movies. But I would like to, because it sat with me for a couple weeks and after the discussion, I'm bringing it up to a 7.
Ooh,
I think it's a 7. I think because I'm more understanding of exactly what it's trying to do to me now.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
And I feel like sometimes I got to just watch some really good movies to then get back into loving movies again, and then look back and be like, you know what? I can't be sad if I'm watching a movie. You know, I can't be disappointed.
Yeah.
Hannah and I always say I have huge theater bias as well. If I'm in a movie theater and I got loud sounds and big faces on the screen, I'm usually going to be happy no matter what I'm watching. So,
Makes
bumping
sense.
it up to a 7 for now. When I rewatch it, we'll have to see what my Letterboxd score goes to then. But for now, my Letterboxd is a 5 or a 2.5 stars out of 5. Unfortunately,
Yeah, change the letterbox.
No. That's how you watch it again, and then you update it.
Ridiculous behavior. Couldn't be me.
Then I can
But
see
that's
my
okay.
growth. I'm having character development. It's like
There you go.
I mean, I support character development, but I think you're dumb.
Hey, we'll take you gave us a verbal 7. That's great.
It's up
Yeah,
there with
exactly.
like, what did I rate? Drag Me to Hell. I kind of feel like it's on a similar.
I like this
level.
better than Drag Me to Hell.
Interesting.
100%.
I think I gave Drag Me to Hell like a 6.5 or something. So, and I like
haven't
Drag Me to Hell.
watched that in years. I think I watched it. The only time I've seen it is when I watched it at theater release. That was it. I've never seen it again.
I
don't
remember
anything.
nothing about it at all.
Yeah, at all.
It's probably worth a watch because it has some Sam Raimi magic, but it's like not going to compete with any of the Evil Dead movies
Got it.
or
Okay.
really, I think anything else he's done.
Yeah.
I mean, you got Spider-Man 2
It's
in
no
there.
Spider-Man
One
2.
of the
Let's
greatest
forget
movies of
about
all
it.
time, and the
Yeah.
well, I was going to say the best superhero movie. It probably is. I stand on that claim. Spider-Man 2.
Okay.
All right.
Tobey Maguire.
Well, what else we got, Hannah? Or is that about it?
That's it.
We're wrapping
So
it up.
feel free to, drop your pod again. Let us know where to find you.
Yeah, give us the plug.
All right,
Oh, the
Erica,
plug.
go for it.
Here we go, the plug. So yes, Horror Café Podcast. You can find us on the IG, Instagram, Facebook. We're on Discord, Horror Café Podcast. Our website, I always forget about the website, horrorcafepodcast.com. We're very interactive, so DM us, comment. We release new episodes every 2 weeks, and we have monthly themes. We have a good time. We drink coffee or alcohol.
Or
And
alcohol.
just rant about our horror movies. So hope you guys come and join us.
Definitely. Join us. Join the conversation.
Join us in the haunted house.
Mhm.
Well, we very much appreciate you guys joining us here today.
Yeah, it was
So-
lots
This was
of fun.
fun. This was
Thank
fun.
you.
Yeah, I had a great
enjoyed it.
time. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah,
Thank you.
definitely.
Now you got to come on over to the cafe next time.
That's the plan.
Oh,
what
yeah.
are we watching? We have something in mind?
Ooh,
We got
I
a
know.
We can
plot.
discuss off the mic.
We got
Yeah,
a plot? That's
Yeah.
definitely.
we'll figure it
All
out.
Little teaser for the viewers or listeners, whatever we
Absolutely.
call it here.
Yeah,
Okay.
we do that all
Well,
the time.
I guess we can do our little sign off. So thank you guys again. Go check them out, everyone listening. I've been Matt Hannah.
I'm Hannah.
This is Horror Hour with the Hannahs. Thank you very much. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Horror Hour with the Hannahs. Make sure to listen to future episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, or wherever you can find podcasts. You can follow us at Horror Hour with the Hannahs on TikTok and Instagram for more content. If you like the podcast, please follow and leave a review on your favorite podcasting app. Happy hauntings!